Today in Locked On Red Wings, heartbreak again as Detroit loses its sixth straight game in regulation, falling 5 points out of the wild card. I'm at my wit's end. I think we all are. Let's hit it.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. Scotty's a host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a sports writer for C&G newspapers, while I am a color commentator for Oakland University, ACHA D1 men's hockey. And Scotty, we just witnessed another heartbreaking loss by the Detroit Red Wings. Heavily outplayed the Ottawa Senators the entire game. 49 shots, got absolutely goalied, while what caused your goals against was pretty much the same thing that's been killing you all year long. And then at the last second, we thought we had tied it in dramatic fashion, similar to the two Montreal games of last year, right? But this time, not so lucky. On the wrong side of the buzzer, Raymond's puck crosses the line. And yeah, they fall 2-1 to the Ottawa Senators, who gain two crucial points over the Red Wings. I think I said in the cold open they're 5 back of the wild card. They might actually be 4 back of the wild card, because that would mean the Ottawa Senators leapfrog the Columbus Blue Jackets. So yeah, 4 out of the wild card. They'd be 1 out right now if they had won that game in regulation. Maybe 2 out if they had tied it and won it in overtime. Scotty, it's really tough with how emotional things are. We're recording this right after the game ended. Honestly, this is me far more collected than I was maybe 10 minutes ago. I was just kind of sitting in this chair, staring off into space, going, do we really have to do this again? But what's your first thought?
Pain and misery. I think, well, again, technically my first thought was screaming, thinking we had tied it.
Me too. I was yelling.
Obviously, have the letdown there on top of it. So I think really when the dust settled, my knee-jerk reaction was just that when it rains, it pours. Like that was really, because we've been talking about all of last week how this collapse is happening again at the same time of year again, and how in some of these games, they get outplayed, or as we talked about a few times at the end of last week, like the goalie play is just not up to par with what is needed to win a hockey game at the NHL level. There's been things to poke holes in, I guess is my point. And there's been things to criticize. This game, you can talk about the penalty kill being awful, I guess, because it's the worst penalty. Yeah, it's the worst penalty kill in hockey, and it gave up goals. But ultimately, they scored 1 goal on 50 shots, man. That's that, and it's not like it was bad shot attempts or poor opportunities, or like Ullmark worked and worked and worked and put together an otherworldly performance. They were saying on the broadcast that he's going to remember this as one of the best games literally in his entire career up to this point. That is the type of performance. And it just feels like, my first thought was just, it feels like when it rains, it pours, man. When it they just can't catch a break. Even when they were clearly the better team, they tied a franchise record all time. The Detroit Red Wings franchise. Okay. One of the most storied franchises in sports. They tied a franchise record for shots in a single period.
On the road.
Right. On the road. Yes. Sorry. That is mind boggling. They got 0 goals out of that. It's man. It just felt like nothing can go their way.
Larkin mentioned it a few games ago. When we play well, we lose. When we play poor, we lose. They're not catching any breaks. And this was a game that I really thought that they deserved to win, and that's what makes it all the more heartbreaking, right? You're trying to get off a slump where nothing seems to be going right. Period 2 on, like you just said, this franchise record, right? Period 2 on, they were dominating the Senators. But Linus Ullmark had an answer for everything. Because it's not as if their shots were coming all from the perimeter, right? Or all from the point. They were getting grade A opportunities.
Danger.
Yeah.
High danger. And like good shots. Like it wasn't even like, oh, that one hit him in the gut or like whatever. Like he made like 4 saves with his face, dude. Like
Right. It's just, I'm gutted for the team. I'm heartbroken myself. I'm much more collected now than I was about 10 minutes ago. I'm gutted for the team because I don't know how you rally from that, right? You're 4 points back out. This is a crucial game to get down the stretch. You have 17, 18 games left to play in the season. How do you bounce back? Like if they're tough, right? If they're mentally tough, which McClellan already claimed that they're mentally fragile when he got here. But, if you're mentally tough, you take this and say, we outplayed this team. Let's continue on with this momentum. But, like, to not only lose when you have 49 shots on net and Ullmark has an answer for everything, but to also lose when you thought you tied it with, like, a fraction of a second left, like, that would, man, and it's part of the reason I'm no NHL player. That would mentally break me, dude. I don't know how they come back from that. And I want them to. I want them to be in this down the stretch because, we're so far into this rebuild, I don't give a crap about where we lie in the first round. We're going to be between 10 and 20. At that point, the talent you're getting is going to be interchangeable. I don't want to hear anything about tanking. This team needs to compete all the way to the end. And this is a game that they deserve to win to get off that schneid. And they were not rewarded with their efforts today. And I'm heartbroken. I'm not mad. I'm mad at the penalty kill, which is what we're talking about, but which we will talk about. But I'm not mad at their effort in this game because they hustled so hard, and Ullmark just had a response to everything. Anyway, Scotty, that's kind of my first thought. My first thought's heartbreak, right? But difference makers in this game, we kind of listed it out right there when we were just riffing there. It's got to be Ullmark, and it's got to be the penalty kill, right?
Yeah, and even the penalty kill comes in a comfortable second place in this conversation, I think.
Does it, though?
Game? Yeah.
They went 2 for 4 on the penalty kill, and the second penalty kill goal they gave up was one of the most broken plays I've ever seen.
Awful.
Dylan cut. I don't know what Rasmussen and Justin Holt. All three of the 4 players were in the near corner or wherever the corner where the puck was. Rasmussen was the only one out net front. That puck comes to the slot. Rasmussen abandons the back door, goes to cover. Holt does the same thing, trying to get to the corner. He shouldn't have been behind the net.
Right.
It was Cousins is wide open. Of course it's Cousins, right? And of course the other goal scorer.
Of course it's David Perron and it's Cousins. Of course.
Right.
Of course, dude.
The guy that we've been salivating over for the past 3 months to get on this team.
There's been rumors.
The Senators.
Weekly.
It's the Senators who make the move, pay the assets to acquire this guy. And there's a conversation, right? Like the Senators had the assets that Ottawa wanted, right? A very similar player, a different style player, but a similar profile, similar contract. But of course, it's the Senators that get him, and it's him that scores the power play goal on our paltry power play. This penalty kill, and Beer League Chumps has said it multiple times, and he's 100% right. If this team had a league average penalty kill, they would be a playoff team. They game in and game out, blow game. They're winning games because the games they were winning was because their power play was outpacing their penalty kill. Well, the power play is no longer outpacing the penalty kill, and it's hurting them. That and the goaltending, which is, I didn't love the goal that Talbot allowed because on the first penalty kill that David Perron scored on, Talbot sees the guy back door and starts to cheat over to his left, leaving the near side open for David Perron to just fire it home. And it's just another puck that goes right past Talbot into the net. And I thought overall Talbot had a pretty good game, but that one goal, I was just like, bro, what are we doing? It was a nice bounce back game for Talbot overall, but that goal, I'm like, in a game this tight, that's just one, you gotta play the shot. But
yeah, no, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I just. You had 50 shots. You know what I mean? I don't disagree with a single thing you just said, but you had 50 shots and it was a 2-1 final. That's.
What was his goal saved above expected by the end of this game? Let me go to Money Puck really quick because I'm really curious. It's got to be at least 2.5, if not more.
Well, he ended with what, 47 saves, 48 saves. I mean, goodness, man.
His goal saved above expected in this hockey game was 4.575.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, and like those things happen. You run into hot goalies, and Linus Ullmark's a Vezina Trophy winner. It just feels like it's just very unlucky that it happened to the Red Wings. And of course, on the flip side, again, they can't get out of their own way. And there's a conversation I had about officiating, but I thought the officials, I thought they were kind of ticky-tacky, but also let a lot of things go on both sides of the puck. So I'm not going to really
the Red Wings got away with a few
couple
trips, to be honest there, man. Yeah.
So I'm not going to complain too much about the officiating in this hockey game. I'm just more upset that, like, the same things that kill you, right? Penalty kills, soft goals, and then when you do play well, you can't even score to back it up.
Yeah. You mentioned if they had a league average penalty kill, if they had the 25th ranked penalty kill in hockey, they'd be a playoff team. The bar isn't even, 16th. Like if they were outside of the bottom three, if they weren't, historically awful, they'd be right there. But it pretty much like just counteracts the power play. And like when the power play then isn't producing at the, first or second highest clip in the league, like it was for a while there, you're screwed. Like that, you only benefit from having a really good power play if your penalty kill is even remotely competent, and it's not. So it's a wash at minimum, and then when the power play stops producing, it obviously becomes a big negative, and that's where they are now. They had just had 50 shots, 49 shots, whatever, and lost a game.
And that hurt, too. Their power play actually looked really, really good in this hockey game. But again, Linus Ullmark had an answer for everything. Their power play was awesome in this game.
Yeah,
just nothing. Anyways, we're going to do a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about notable performers from this game, because I thought there were quite a few players that I thought stood out. Because, again, the Red Wings dominated this hockey game. Linus Ullmark just was the answer. So stay tuned to segment 2 of Locked On Red Wings. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year, Factor makes eating well easy with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, and grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. You're going to love Factor because it takes the stress out of meal planning. The convenience is unbeatable. No prep, no mess, just great food in minutes. All right, guys, here comes the offer at the end. It's a mouthful. Get ready. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50 off and use code LockedOnNHL50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code LockedOnNHL50 off at factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. There's got to be a briefer way for a promo code.
I disagree, actually.
Notable performers in this hockey game, Scotty. Let's lead it off, right? Dylan Larkin, he scores despite, everything going wrong. Larkin scores in his 3rd straight game. I believe that is his 27th goal of the season. So he'll pretty comfortably close in on 30 here and cross that threshold for his 5th straight season now. I mean, Dylan Larkin is Dylan Larkin. He is able to produce and score at a pretty consistent clip each and every single season. He is not the problem for this team. At least he showed up. Lucas Raymond registered an assist too. That whole play was actually really nice. Soderblom with the puck on the boards, floated a pass up to Larkin. Larkin takes the initial shot, follows up on the rebound, wins the puck battle to Raymond, who drops it right back to Larkin. It was a really nice play, and I'm really happy to see Soderblom up on that line, contributing offensively, even if he didn't get an assist on that. And,
Yeah, no, that kind of transitions into, I want to talk about Elmer specifically. He got a bigger and bigger role in this game. He was playing in crunch time at the very end of the hockey game for a reason, man. This is a guy that continues to take strides forward. He had a couple of really nice shots on net. He had one that he tried to sneak in under Ullmark's left armpit, I guess it was, kind of early in the third period, and I have no idea how it didn't go in. Yeah, man, I mean, continues when he is forechecking at an aggressive pace. It is hard to play against, and that is something that he brings. Not only that, but then on the offensive side of the puck, for not necessarily zone entries, because I feel like that's still an area that he can get better at. But once the puck is in the zone, you just get the puck on his stick, and it's almost like a center, like Shaquille O'Neal in basketball. It was like, all right, we need to get the ball close to the net. Like, let's just give it to Shaq, and then he'll just post up and back anybody in the NBA down. Like, that's how Elmer is. It's just like, oh, like, we want to get a puck deep right now. And it's like, all right, let's just put it on his stick, and he'll just, with the wingspan, have the arm way out with the puck on his stick, kind of lower the shoulder a little bit and just kind of bully his way in. He did that a few times in this game. It was really nice. So, yeah, I just want to continue singing his praises. One of the bright spots in a month now for this Red Wings team that has not had a lot of them. He certainly shines bright. He has been great, and I thought was great again in this one.
Yeah, he is a name that when watching the game, I kept hearing over and over and over again during the broadcast because he kept getting himself involved in puck battles and races to the puck. And he was one of the few guys who were winning those races, right? And those puck battles. There was late in the game, like you said, in crunch time, there was one maybe 30-second stretch where Ken Daniels kept saying, and Soderblom, and back to Soderblom again, and Soderblom gets it yet again, and he's just single-handedly keeping the play alive along the boards in the offensive zone, chipping it to the next guy, and when that guy lost it, he's right there again to make sure it stays alive, and he looked really good in this hockey game despite the results, and I'm really glad, too, that he's getting top-line looks, because then it allows Marco Kasper to play on the second line, and that second line, I've had a lot of problems with Patrick Kane at 5-on-5 this season and his lack of effort with the puck not on his stick. I'm just like, sometimes, brother, like engage in a board battle on the forecheck. Like I've already like come to terms with the fact that you're not going to play defense and you're not going to back check. That's fine. That's your Patrick Kane. But give me a little bit of effort in the offensive zone. But this was a game actually where that entire second line with Marco Kasper centering, that second line dominated the game analytically speaking. And Alex DeBrincat set a new career high in shots with 11 in this hockey game. That entire second line was fantastic. And I hope that is going to continue with Marco Kasper as that kind of line's engine going forward.
Yeah, I thought Cat, especially as you mentioned, there was everywhere. The numbers kind of speak for themselves. I mean, he was great, and that is a man. Like it's just so even. Like, I was gonna be like, oh, like that's a line that you is really gonna need to produce and like get going if you want to make a run here, and it's just very demoralizing to be where the team is at right now,
right?
Because.
So that line as a whole, Scotty, each individual player, I should say, not as a whole. Patrick Kane had a 5-on-5 Corsi 4 percentage, a shot attempt share. Shot attempts for versus shot attempts against when they're on the ice. He was out there for 20 shot attempts for 4 against for a percentage of 83%. His expected goals for percentage in this game was 94%, 1.32 expected goals for and 0.09 expected goals against. For DeBrincat, it was 82% Corsi for and again 94% expected goals for. And for Marco Kasper, the center of that second line, it was 77 Corsi for and 88 expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5. So that line was doing a lot of work. Obviously, pretty heavily used in the offensive zone. But Alex DeBrincat, too, to add on to his offense, a couple key back checks by Alex DeBrincat. One, shorthanded 2-on-1 that he gets back on, saves a goal. And then again, with the net empty, he busts ass back to prevent a goal against. And that's the thing, like Alex DeBrincat's defense he's really put in an effort to improve his defense since coming to Detroit. Like we heard from both like Chicago fan base and Ottawa fan base that he's not a good defensive player, and he probably overall still isn't. But what I will never take away from Alex DeBrincat is he tries to play defense. He hustles both sides of the ice. So maybe he doesn't have the great IQ and great intuition on the back end, but he hustles, and I really respect that.
Yeah, man, and that's something we've talked about a lot, honestly, in his whole Red Wings tenure, not even just this season, where he's obviously had a great year. You know, we kind of went to bat for him a little bit last year and talked about his improvements in that regard. So, yeah, I agree.
Yep. Let's head to another break. We got a pistachio read coming up. When we return, I want to talk about Craig Smith. This was his first game in a Red Wing uniform, rocking number 15. We'll talk a little bit about the goaltending situation because we were both a little surprised we didn't see Mrazek in this hockey game. So, yeah, stay tuned to that on segment 3 of Locked On Red Wings.
Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that is both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts, with each 1 ounce serving having 6 grams of protein, giving you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, as I always say, I'm big on the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, I'm on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are always a classic favorite as well. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. It's really inconvenient that it swaps our places every time.
I know. There's like nothing I can do about that one. The rest of it, is how quick my clicking is. That one, I can't do anything about it.
You do a good job. You knock it out of the park, man. Honest to God. Craig Smith made his Red Wings debut today wearing number 15. Apparently, they said on the broadcast it's the most worn number in Red Wings history. Wow. I'm trying to think of number 15s. My mind always goes to Riley Shahan. I can't think of another person who wore 15, but that's more me problem than anything else. What'd you think of Craig Smith in his Red Wings debut?
I mean, I liked what I saw, and in the role that he had, I thought he was actually kind of buzzing, especially early, man. He was kind of flying everywhere. Aggressive forecheck, but that was something kind of the whole team adopted a little bit more in this game. I liked what I saw. Certainly didn't have an issue with that. I didn't really have an issue with much in this hockey game, and we're still here talking about a loss. But I thought he looked solid, and I think he will be more productive and more valuable down there than Veleno was, which is, I guess the point of the trade.
Yep. I think I agree. Just brought a level of energy to the bottom 6. He was a pretty aggressive forechecker, which is something that we were sold on. And I thought it helped provide a little bit of a boost to the bottom 6 as well, although I don't know about playing him. That was a weird third line. JT Compher, Tarasenko, and Craig Smith. It's going to take a while for some chemistry to get built. But, I mean, any line that's got Tarasenko at this point is kind of an offensive black hole, but that's a different conversation. Scotty, they started Cam Talbot in this hockey game. We were both shocked by this because they acquired Peter Mrazek. Cam Talbot just came off a performance where he allowed 5 on, I think, 28 shots. Not a great game. We were highly critical of that performance as well because there were at least 2 or 3 goals that he allowed we thought he should have saved, 2 of which were just shots from like the top of the circle. But they ran it back with him. And again, he was overall pretty good. I have an issue with the first goal he allowed. But in the end, he made 21 saves on 23 shots. That's a .913 save percentage. It was an improved game. But how do you feel about them running it back with Talbot rather than trying out the new blood, the guy you acquired in Peter Mrazek? New old blood.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I was surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised in a like, oh, this is a mistake type of way. I just assumed they would go with Mrazek. all three of them have been brutal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, dude. Like, pick whoever you want, I guess. I'm sure there was more decision making and more of a reason behind it than just that. I'm not saying they just like drew names out of a hat, but like, I don't want to say I didn't care, because again, like we talked about it, I was surprised. I wasn't expecting them to go back to him. I guess the goalie with the highest ceiling amongst these three is who?
Sebastian Kosa.
Okay, I said amongst these three, so nice try. But you know what I mean? Like, Talbot has been the best for you. So, like, if you're going to lean on him down the stretch, I guess you go back to the well there and show that he's still the first option and whatnot. Like, I don't know, man. I didn't really have any emotion toward it. I was like, oh, like, outside of, again, just being kind of surprised immediately.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we're only 26 minutes into this, but I don't know what else to say. I mean, where do you go from here? You just keep playing. You play it out. See where it goes. Try to break off. You got Buffalo. Your best chance to break this losing streak is Buffalo on, I think, actually, wasn't it Buffalo last year that they broke the 7-game losing streak to?
I don't remember.
Hold on. We're doing this
I
live.
believe you. You seem really confident. I'm just going to believe you.
Well, I've been confidently incorrect many times in my life. So,
well,
it was Buffalo. They beat them 4-1 on Saturday, March 16th to break their 7-game losing streak.
Almost exactly a year. Wow, look at that.
And this March history is repeating itself. So, I mean, there's an opportunity here. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to really say is just like, we've won 7 in a row twice this year. Like, we know we can get hot and beat anybody when the team does get hot. So let's try and do that again and make magic for a third time, man.
Let's
that's
bank on a 7-game win streak for a third time.
Right. Like, you're literally in the position of like, what, when a team is getting like blown out at halftime in football and your like uncle looks at you and is like, what does the head coach even say to the team at halftime? Like, that's what this feels like. It's like, what do you even say? You just say like,
honestly,
well, they just put up a ton of points on us, so we can do it back. Like, that's pretty much where you're at. It's like, well, we've won 7 in a row before, so let's try to go on a run again.
There are times too where the head coach doesn't say anything. Like, if a team, and the game isn't this situation, right? Like, Red Wings came out and they responded and they played really well, and they got
this game
goalied.
Obviously was not that.
But
I'm just saying.
In those situations, yes, where guys are getting pumped, sometimes coaches don't say anything. Guys already know, and not saying anything is even more damning. Like,
right.
Sometimes when you're getting blown out, you want to get yelled at. Like, you want your coach to tear into you, and if he doesn't, that's even more frustrating.
Well,
because it means that your coach.
I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed.
Right.
It's
like, that tactic.
That's brutal.
So anyways, I got nothing else, man. This game, that was a heartbreaker. It sucks. And we got another game on Wednesday.
Word. Yeah. It's another 7:30 game too. That'll puck drop at 9. So.
Oh my God. It's because that. Oh, I almost dropped an F-bomb. It's because that freaking Amazon Prime broadcast. Even Max Bultman, one of the most level-headed journalists.
Dude, you need to take a breather, all right?
Ever come across.
Whoa.
Shut up. Even Max Bultman, one of the most level-headed journalists I've ever come across, was like furious on Twitter about how ridiculous it is.
Because it's the only sport that this happens all the time.
It is.
It's so stupid.
Football kicks off at noon or 1 o'clock, depending on the sport.
Look at baseball start times. It's like...
It's 7:08 because it's 7:08.
Yeah, dude. It's like we're going to first pitch at 1:07. And first pitch, I'll be darned if it's not at 1:07.
Like, I tuned in at 7:15, and I looked at the countdown clock, and it said 42 minutes.
Dude.
And I was like, are you kidding me?
I got home from... My car was in the shop all day today. I got home from that.
Sick flex.
And how is that a flex? I paid like $1 billion. It was awful.
Oh, you got $1 billion to spend? Sick flex.
All right, dude. Thanks for making us your first listen. I'm done speaking. We ball.
Same time, same place. It's your team every day.